The most powerful response to someone who undervalued you isn't revenge, it isn't begging, and it isn't proving yourself. It's indifference. When you act like he never mattered, you reclaim all the energy he once fed on. You stop showing him that he had any significance in your life, and in doing so, you give karma the perfect stage, because karma doesn't need your help, it works quietly. Through the silence, through the absence, through the life you build without him. And the moment he realizes you've erased his presence, as if he was nothing, that's when regret becomes his teacher. When you stop reacting, you send the clearest message. He holds no power anymore. Anger, arguments, even long explanations still give him a form of significance because they show he has the ability to affect your emotions. In fact, for many men who thrive on ego, a negative reaction can feel just as rewarding as a positive one. It tells him he still matters enough to stir you. But indifference cuts through all of that. Indifference strips away his illusion of influence, because when you no longer react, you prove he is no longer relevant. That absence of energy hits him harder than any words you could ever throw his way. It's human nature to crave attention, and for someone who relies on validation, even conflict can feed his sense of importance. He wants to know he still has a place in your mind, that he can still provoke you, that he's not forgotten. That's why anger doesn't hurt him the way you think it reassures him. He still exists in your world. But when you act as though he never mattered, when your silence replaces every explanation and your calm replaces every confrontation, it leaves him with nothing to hold on to. He can't twist your words. He can't manipulate your reactions. He can't feel powerful through your emotions. He's left staring at a blank wall, and that blank wall forces him to see the truth. His actions no longer have impact. The power of indifference is that it doesn't just end the interaction. It ends his illusion of significance. He may test you at first, poking to see if you'll break your silence. He might send mixed messages, try to provoke jealousy, or remind you of old memories just to spark a response. But when he's met with calm disinterest every single time, he eventually learns the message he didn't want to face. He no longer has a role in your life. That realization isn't just uncomfortable, it's crushing for someone whose confidence depended on your attention. What makes this so effective is that you're not trying to teach him a lesson, you're simply reclaiming your energy. The lesson is just the byproduct. By not engaging, you protect your peace, and ironically, that's what shakes him the most. Because deep down, he expected to matter enough to draw you back in. He counted on your emotions to keep him relevant. But when you act like he never mattered, you dismantle that expectation completely. You're not seeking closure from him, you've already created it within yourself. And when a person realizes you've moved on without needing anything from them, that's when regret has room to take root. Indifference also makes space for your growth. Instead of pouring energy into defending yourself or proving your worth, you pour it back into your own life. You invest in your goals, your healing, your joy. You show, without even trying, that his absence hasn't diminished you, it's liberated you. And that transformation is where karma begins its work. While you're moving forward, he's stuck looking backward, trying to understand how the person who once reacted to him so strongly now treats him like a ghost. That contrast is painful because it makes him realize he never had as much power as he thought. The beauty of acting like he never mattered is that it's not about pretending, it's about choosing. Choosing to stop giving him the importance he once demanded. Choosing to let silence speak instead of words. Choosing to demonstrate through calm detachment that you've outgrown the version of yourself who tolerated his games. And once he sees that, once he feels the cold edge of indifference, karma steps in to amplify the regret. He is left knowing that the influence he thought he had is gone forever, And there's no anger, no revenge, no punishment that could hurt him more than that simple, undeniable truth. By acting like he never mattered, you create the kind of closure that words can never deliver. Most people believe closure comes from long conversations, apologies, or explanations. But true closure doesn't require any of that. Closure comes when you decide that the story is finished, when you stop giving the past permission to define your present. And silence is the most powerful way to create that ending, because it leaves no room for negotiation, no opening for excuses, no chance for manipulation. It is a full stop, not a comma. By refusing to engage, you communicate something far stronger than words ever could. You show him that the chapter is closed and there's nothing left to discuss. Silence is uncomfortable for someone who's used to controlling the narrative. If he can argue with you, if he can defend himself, if he can get you to react, he still feels relevant. Even if you walk away angry, he believes he still has a place in your heart because anger means you still care. But silence is final. Silence says, you are no longer a factor in my life. It's the absence of proof that he ever mattered, and that's where karma does its work. He doesn't get the satisfaction of knowing he left a mark. Instead, he's left with uncertainty, and that uncertainty gnaws at him because the ego can't stand not knowing where it stands. By choosing silence, you also free yourself from the endless loop of explanation. How many times have you tried to explain your worth to someone who didn't value it? How many times have you spelled out your needs, hoping they'd finally listen? The truth is, people don't change because of your words, they change because of their own realizations. And your silence creates the perfect conditions for those realizations to happen. With no arguments to distract him, no reassurance to soften the blow, he's left with nothing but himself and his actions. That's when reflection begins, and reflection is karma's most powerful weapon. The beauty of silence is that it protects your dignity. You don't need to beg for understanding or fight for recognition. You've already given enough, and now your silence says, I don't owe you anything. That strength unsettles him because he expected an ending filled with drama, tears, or at least some acknowledgement that he mattered. But when you deny him even that, when you erase his importance entirely, you take back all the power he thought he had. He may never admit it, but inside, the lack of reaction is what hurts the most. And here's the thing, your silence isn't just about him. It's about you, it's about refusing to keep rehearsing the pain. Every word you might have spent on him is energy that could be spent building your life, nurturing your peace, and focusing on people who truly see your worth. By acting like he never mattered, you redirect your attention to the future instead of recycling the past. That shift is healing, and it makes you stronger, and that strength doesn't just rebuild you. It also highlights the weakness in him, because while you rise, he's left stuck with the weight of everything unsaid, everything undone, everything unacknowledged. Karma teaches through contrast. The silence you create becomes the echo he can't escape. The closure you gave yourself leaves him with none. And over time, he begins to realize that while you moved forward without hesitation, he's still standing in the emptiness of what he lost. That emptiness is karma's way of teaching him the lesson he refused to learn when he had the chance. And the most painful part of all is that you didn't have to lift a finger to make it happen. You simply acted like he never mattered, and in doing so, you gave him the one ending he can't rewrite, the quiet truth that his presence in your life is already over. Every ounce of attention you give is a gift, and it's time to recognize that your energy is not infinite. It is precious, powerful, and it shapes not only how you feel about yourself, but also how others treat you. When you give your energy to a man who doesn't value it, you're pouring gold into a black hole. It disappears, it's wasted, and it leaves you drained with nothing in return. But the moment you pull it back, the moment you reclaim that energy and stop investing it in someone unworthy, karma takes over. He begins to feel the absence of what once made him feel significant, and that absence burns more than any words ever could. Men who thrive on ego often confuse your attention with proof of their worth. Every reply, every check-in, every gesture reinforces the illusion that they still matter in your world. It doesn't even matter whether the attention is loving or angry. What matters is that it exists, because as long as you're reacting, you're feeding him. But when you stop, when you act like he never mattered and redirect that energy into yourself, suddenly his sense of importance collapses. The foundation of his ego, built on your investment, starts to crack. And when the investment dries up, he begins to feel the weight of the debt he created through his carelessness. That's when karma starts collecting. It's easy to underestimate just how valuable your attention is. You might think, I only sent a text, I only gave him another chance, I only reacted to his games, but in reality, every one of those moments was currency. And while he was spending freely, he was also assuming the supply would never end. He thought no matter how little he gave back, you'd always keep giving. That belief made him reckless. But when you finally stop, when you refuse to keep spending your time, emotions, and energy on him, he's forced to face reality. There's no endless account to draw from. The resource he treated as disposable is gone, and he has nothing to replace it with. For you, pulling your energy back is more than an act of detachment, it's an act of empowerment. It's the moment you remember your worth and decide to stop funding someone else's ego at the cost of your own peace. That shift is magnetic. When you stop investing in him and start investing in yourself, you shine in a way that no one can ignore. And ironically, that shine is what makes him realize the depth of what he lost. He begins to notice that without your constant presence, his world feels duller, emptier, less meaningful. And while you're filling yourself up, he's left with the void your energy used to cover. The regret he feels in those moments is karma at work. Because karma doesn't need to be dramatic. It often shows up as quiet contrast, you flourishing while he feels the lack, you glowing while he scrambles to fill the emptiness, you living fully while he replays the choices that pushed you away. That's the balance life always restores. The one who gave selflessly learns to keep their energy, and the one who took selfishly learns what it feels like to go without. By acting like he never mattered, you're not being cruel, you're being wise, you're choosing to protect your currency and spend it where it truly counts. And the most painful lesson for him is realizing that the very energy he dismissed was the most valuable thing he had. He thought he could always come back for more, he thought you'd always give, no matter what, but karma doesn't work that way. Karma ensures he feels the emptiness of what he once had and now can never have again. And all you had to do was stop giving and remember that your energy belongs to you, not him. Indifference is often misunderstood. People think it means not caring at all. But in reality, indifference is the most powerful statement you can make because it communicates everything without a single word. When you act indifferent, when you behave as if he never mattered, you send a message stronger than anger, stronger than confrontation, stronger even than closure conversations. Anger shows that you're still invested, still tied emotionally, still tethered to what he did. Indifference, on the other hand, shows that you've outgrown him entirely. It's saying you no longer have the power to affect me, and that message is far more devastating to someone's ego than any insult you could throw. Men who thrive on attention rely on emotional reactions. They thrive on the push and pull, the drama, the highs and lows, because every reaction reassures them that they matter in your world. Even if you're fighting, you're still acknowledging their presence. That acknowledgement is like oxygen for their ego. But indifference, Indifference is suffocation. It cuts off the supply. When you stop reacting, when you no longer care enough to fight, chase, or even explain, you take away their air. And nothing exposes a person's weakness faster than the absence of the attention they believed they'd always have. This is why indifference works so powerfully as karma. It forces someone to confront their true value in your life. If he sees you moved on, laughing, living, unaffected, it dismantles the story he told himself, that you couldn't exist without him, that he had control, that he was unforgettable. Suddenly, he realizes he wasn't the center of your world. In fact, he wasn't as important as he imagined. That realization is like a mirror he can't escape, one that reflects his insignificance back to him. And while you continue to rise, he's left to wrestle with the truth that he was forgettable after all. Indifference is also healing for you, because when you choose not to react, you're not just punishing him, you're protecting yourself. You're refusing to waste your emotional energy on someone who already showed you they didn't deserve it. Every ounce of indifference is a declaration of self-respect. It's you saying, my peace matters more than proving a point. My dignity matters more than feeding your ego. That shift doesn't just wound him, it strengthens you. It teaches you that you don't need anyone to validate your worth. Because your calm, unbothered state is proof that you've already moved beyond the need for validation. What makes indifference especially powerful is that it's undeniable. You can fake anger, you can fake happiness, but you can't fake indifference for long. If you're indifferent, it's because you've truly detached, and people can sense it. He will sense it. He'll notice that your tone has changed, your presence is lighter, your responses are shorter, or maybe they don't come at all. He'll notice that you're no longer watching, no longer waiting, no longer reacting, and that's when the panic sets in, because his ego thrives on being fed, and your indifference starves it. The beauty of karma is that it doesn't need revenge to be effective. Life has a way of teaching lessons through the natural consequences of our actions. And in this case, his consequence is experiencing the void left behind by your indifference. While he once took comfort in knowing you cared, now he has to live with the sting of realizing you don't. And that sting doesn't fade quickly, it lingers, it haunts. It reminds him of the power he lost the second you stopped giving him importance. So when you choose indifference, you're not being cold, you're being wise. You're showing that the most powerful revenge isn't revenge at all, it's simply refusing to care. It's showing up to your own life with joy, peace, and fulfillment, while he sits in the silence of your absence. That silence becomes his regret, his teacher, his karma, and all you had to do was act like he never mattered. The greatest irony in relationships is that regret rarely comes in the moment. It comes later, when the dust has settled and reality sets in. At first, he might feel confident in his choices, certain that walking away or taking you for granted carried no cost. He may even believe he won because he didn't see you break, didn't see you chase, didn't see you beg. But karma doesn't work instantly. It works quietly, patiently, and it always arrives when someone least expects it. And the most painful way karma teaches is through contrast. When he sees you thriving without him, when he realizes that life went on and you didn't crumble, that's when the regret begins to creep in. This is why your focus should never be on making him regret. It should be on you living fully, unapologetically, beautifully. Because your happiness, your peace, your glow, that is the sharpest contrast to the narrative he told himself. He expected you to need him. He expected to be unforgettable. But when you show up happier, lighter, and more fulfilled without him, it shatters the illusion. Suddenly, he's faced with the truth. Not only did he underestimate you, but he also underestimated the strength you had to walk away and rise higher than before. Karma doesn't punish with lightning bolts. It punishes with reminders. Every time he sees you flourishing, every time he hears about your growth, every time he realizes he is no longer a part of the joy he once could have shared, that's karma knocking. Regret is the echo of opportunities missed, and when he remembers the times he had the chance to step up, to value you, to treat you right, he'll see clearly that those chances are gone forever. That's not something you need to enforce. Life enforces it for you. What makes regret so powerful is that it comes when there's no turning back. While you're building new memories, opening yourself to people who truly deserve you, he's stuck replaying the past. And the past cannot be changed. He may want another chance, but karma ensures the timing is wrong. He may wish he had appreciated you, but karma ensures the moment has passed. He may finally understand your worth, but karma ensures you no longer need his validation. That's the bitter taste of regret. It arrives too late to be useful. And here's the deeper beauty of it. By focusing on your own healing, you set the stage for karma naturally. When you stop trying to prove your value to him, when you stop chasing recognition, and when you channel all that energy into your own growth, you create a life so full that his absence becomes irrelevant. But ironically, that's exactly what makes him realize what he lost. Your glow becomes the mirror of his mistakes. Your strength becomes the evidence of his weakness, and your peace becomes the punishment he can't escape. Regret lingers longer than guilt, because guilt can be dismissed with excuses, but regret sits with you every time you wonder, what if? He will wonder, what if he had treated you better? What if he had chosen differently? What if he had seen your worth sooner? And while he's stuck in that cycle, you're too busy living to care. That's how karma wins, not by dragging you down to his level, but by lifting you so high that the difference between your world and his is undeniable. So never chase regret, never try to force it. Just know that when you act like he never mattered, when you stop giving energy to someone who didn't value it, you set a chain of events in motion that you don't have to control. Karma does the work for you, and when it finally arrives, his regret will not be a small sting. It will be the lasting ache of realizing he lost something he can never get back. When you choose to move forward with strength, you're not just leaving the past behind. You're creating a new standard for how you expect to be treated. Acting like he never mattered isn't about pretending or suppressing your emotions. It's about showing yourself that your life doesn't stop for anyone who couldn't recognize your worth. It's about declaring through your actions that no man has the power to define your future unless you give him that permission. And when you reclaim that permission, you step into a life that feels fuller, freer, and more aligned with who you truly are. Strength after heartbreak doesn't come from revenge or from waiting for karma to deliver payback. It comes from the quiet decision you make every day to choose yourself. To wake up and focus on your goals, your joy, your friendships, your passions. To remind yourself that the story isn't over just because one chapter closed. That resilience is magnetic. It makes you glow in ways that no one can ignore. And while you're building this new life, you send a message that speaks louder than words ever could. That his absence hasn't broken you, it has only revealed your strength. This kind of strength terrifies the person who thought they had power over you, because what really crushes an ego is not your sadness, it's your resilience. It's the realization that you don't need him, that you're perfectly fine without him, that in fact you're happier now. And while you're not living to prove a point, your happiness becomes the point. It becomes the undeniable evidence that you were never dependent on him for your worth or your joy. That realization is karma in its purest form, life, showing him that he was never as essential as he believed. But your strength isn't just about how he perceives it, it's about how it transforms you. Every time you refuse to look back, every time you take another step forward, you build trust with yourself. You teach yourself that you are capable of surviving disappointment, rejection, betrayal, and not just surviving, but thriving after it. That trust becomes your superpower. Because once you know you can handle losing someone you once thought you couldn't live without, you become fearless. No relationship, no person, no situation will ever have the power to break you in the same way again. And here's the beauty: the more you move forward, the less space he occupies in your mind. You don't need to erase him intentionally, because life naturally fills in the gaps. New experiences, new people, new opportunities, they rush in to replace the space he left behind. Before long, he's not just someone you act like never mattered. He genuinely becomes someone who doesn't matter. His memory fades into the background while your new life takes center stage. That's not pretending. That's growth. That's healing. That's power. For him, watching you embody this strength is its own form of punishment. He might have expected tears, breakdowns, or endless attempts to win him back. But when he sees the opposite, when he sees your light shining brighter than ever, he's forced to confront the reality that losing you wasn't just a momentary event, it was a permanent loss. And that permanence is what eats at him. Because, while you're writing a new story, he's stuck rereading the old one, realizing too late that he could have been part of the next chapter if only he had valued you when it mattered. So when you act like he never mattered and focus on moving forward with strength, you're not seeking revenge, you're embracing freedom. You're giving yourself the gift of peace while karma does its silent work in the background. And the ultimate irony is that your strength not only heals you, it also delivers the sharpest reminder to him of what he threw away. He has to live with the regret of losing someone who didn't just survive without him, but thrived in ways he never imagined. That is karma's final word and your greatest victory. The truth is, the most powerful statement you can make is not in chasing, not in proving, not even in fighting back. It's in living as though he never mattered at all. Because when you withdraw your energy, when you create your own closure, when you stop feeding someone who thrived on your attention, you reclaim your dignity in the most unshakable way. Indifference becomes your shield, silence becomes your weapon, and strength becomes your story. And while you rise, while you move forward and build a life so full that his absence barely registers, karma does the rest. He will feel the contrast. He will feel the void. He will feel the regret that comes not from your words, but from your absence, your glow, your undeniable growth. And that regret will be his teacher, not yours. Your only responsibility is to step into your future with strength, to pour your energy into yourself, and to remember that your worth was never up for debate. So don't waste another second trying to make him see it. Act like he never mattered, because in the story you are now writing, he doesn't. And in the end, the greatest karma is not what happens to him, it's who you become without him.